What is the maximum amount of time that you should be in a caloric deficit before you change something? Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com, and I want to send you guys a reminder that if you want to ask me questions, go right here to my Instagram direct message, give me a follow, send me your direct messages. Now, if you ask a question that I really think is going to help a lot of people, I'm going to put it here. Otherwise, I might just directly reply to you. But the goal for today's question is to help you understand how you should handle your fat loss phase. He's 49, 6'2", 206 pounds, tracking his calories and macros. He's about 1,750 a day. And so far so good with 1 hour of cardio. What's the maximum amount of time to be in a caloric deficit? Do some periodic breaks before it becomes unhealthy. And hello from Italy. Hey, I got a little Italian in me. All right, so here's the thing. Fat loss is very different from person to person. I'm going to tell you my story. And the short answer to this is you can spend long periods of time in a caloric deficit. However, the leaner you get, the more I find that you're going to need some breaks along the way. So my first ever time dieting down for a bodybuilding show, I was 32 years old. I had never tried to lose body fat in my entire life. So I was a typical guy just focusing on gaining weight my whole life. That first diet phase that I entered, I did not change my calories or cardio for about 16 weeks. And I was losing body fat at a rate of, 1 to 2 pounds of body fat per week. So that's a long time, 4 months of not making any changes, not taking any breaks. Why was that? Well, first of all, I had gotten to a body fat that my body just had no desire to be at, okay? I believe I was around 240 pounds. I ended up dieting down to about 200 pounds. So I think these huge swings in weight, our bodies really like to kind of find a happy spot, right? Like a spot where we want to be leanish, but not too lean, but we won't want to be too heavy either, too much body fat. And what I find with men, and even women, is that if you've been mistreating yourself and you put on a lot of body fat, if you flip that switch and you start moving more, eating better, getting good sleep, taking care of yourself, the body is almost excited about this process, right? So you can diet, if I've had clients that were like 150 pounds above where they wanted to be, we dieted for a year straight without any breaks. They didn't really deal with any hunger issues. We managed the process where they were flexible with their food selection. And so, for 6 months or more, we were not taking breaks. Now, I'll say this. I did have some planned, scheduled free meals. I hate the word cheat meal because it implies you're doing something wrong, but a free meal meaning you're free to eat what you want at that meal, or what I would consider a refeed for my athletes. It's a more controlled environment where I give them specific numbers for carbohydrates and fats to be. But the idea there is the calories go up maybe once a week, right? Sometimes twice a week. But pulling someone out of a dieting phase that's got the ability to lose 40, 50, 100 pounds or more, you can allow your body to be in that deficit for long periods of time because your body has so much extra energy. Think of fat cells as energy, right? And so what's inside that fat cell is going to be stored energy, and you can burn that off with very little negative response to your body. However, things start to get a little bit different as we get closer to, let's say, 12 to 15% for men, probably 18 to 22% for women. This is when you need to start including some recovery. Now, there was a really cool study a few years ago. I've talked about it a lot. And over my coaching career of coaching bodybuilders and competitive athletes, at the highest level of the sport, I've coached world champions, I've coached athletes at the Olympia. I've been about as successful as you can be as a bodybuilding coach. The thing that I've said for years now that has made me better as a coach has been the idea of a diet break. And so you can apply this to a lifestyle client or someone that's not necessarily getting on a bodybuilding stage, but they want to get leaner. The thing about a diet break is it's a controlled set of calories. So if you're in a deficit of, say, 1,750 calories and you're losing for a while, and you want to take a break, a lot of people will say, well, what would my calories be? Would I go back to my original maintenance? No. You're not your original weight. Your maintenance calories are much different now. So if someone's at about 1,750 calories, I'm probably going to put them at around 2,150 calories, right? 15 to 20% more calories. Likewise, if they're doing cardio to elicit a fat loss response, meaning they're doing cardio with the purposes of getting leaner, what I'm going to do is bring that cardio down about 50%. So let's say someone's doing 45 minutes a day, 5 or 6 days a week. I'll probably bring that cardio down to 25 minutes a day, right? I realize that's not exactly half, but who does 22 and a half minutes of cardio, right? So, but the idea here is that we are bringing the cardio down, bringing the food up, and we're bringing our body back to maintenance. And we do that for about a week. That restores a few things. A, it's going to restore energy. Maybe it's going to restore some hunger, some cravings because you get a bit more food. Digestive system, right? When you restrict your calories and do a lot of cardio, the digestive system slows down. We don't think of the body as being more and more efficient the more fat we lose, but it gets more efficient. It actually slows that process down. So you get some benefits there. You might get some benefits hormonally because you're taking in maybe some extra fat. You get some benefit from the fat that's actually the cascade of hormones starting in your body. You might also sleep a little bit better. I've also had some instances where athletes, clients of mine, when we brought the food up and the cardio down, they started dropping weight. Well, why was that? Well, all the things I just mentioned are one part of this metabolic equation that has to do with our metabolism, okay? So you can actually increase your metabolic rate because your hormones are better, you're sleeping better. Also, what I find is that people tend to move a bit more when they're not in a caloric deficit. So they're not conserving energy all day. This non-exercise activity that we do on a daily basis, you guessed it, it can actually increase how many calories we're burning. This right here. When I'm very lean and I'm dieted down, if you watch back some of my videos, I've done over 1,500 videos now on YouTube, guys. If you watch some of my early videos when I was in prep, I was very monotone. I didn't move a lot. And I watch those back and I just cringe and I think, dude, you need a diet break, right? I didn't even know what that was 15 years ago. It's something that I've popularized a little bit through my methods the last 6 or 7 years with competitive athletes. And I think it's still not really caught on, but a lot of that comes down to the fact that it does require an element of being very, very understandable about where your calories are at, right? If you're not accountable to yourself, it's hard to make those small adjustments, a few hundred calories. So it's easier for some people to just be like, oh, I'm on this very strict diet, I'm going to come off of it. That can have different results. But what we're talking about here is how long can you be in a caloric deficit? Well, there's a famous Englishman named Angus Barbieri. He did not eat for an entire year. Yeah, he was so overweight. He was under medical advisement. He was having only water and some key vitamins and minerals. And he actually lost an incredible amount of weight until he was back down to his proper weight. And he did that. That's it. So he was in a deficit for an entire year. Now, complications from that, I don't know. I've read some of the articles that said that, he had trouble eating to begin with. He had to just start with like a piece of bread. But the idea here is that you can sustain a caloric deficit for a long period of time. Is it what's best for you? What I find with my athletes is that the leaner we get, the more frequent the recovery periods need to be. And that's going to set us up for the post-diet. Now, a lot of you guys have noticed over the years, I've had some big weight swings, right? So my first couple of years doing bodybuilding, I would diet down to say 200 pounds, and then I would get up to 240. I would diet down to 200 pounds and get up to 240. Well, last year I did a bodybuilding show where I dieted down to 200 pounds. I'm walking around at 215 pounds. Let's see. Live on camera ab check, right? This is me, the leanest I've ever been with the least effort, okay? I'm eating well, I'm training hard, but I'm not trying to stay lean. I'm not tracking my calories every day. And I attribute a lot of that to the way I dieted last year. I only did walking for my cardio. Now my walking is probably more intense than most people's. It's on an incline treadmill. And anytime that I felt fatigued during my diet, I stopped and I took a recovery week, which means I did not pick my bodybuilding show, my endpoint, until I felt lean enough, and then I made my final push. But this has been a complete game changer for me, for my clients, and for me, for the sport of bodybuilding. I feel much better about coaching people to get shredded because I'm not putting them in a position where I know they're going to have trouble with an eating disorder or rapid body fat gain afterwards. So if you guys would like some help with any of your goals, you can always reach out to me at any time for a no-cost consultation. Okay, I want to put a link below, prophysique.com. But the goal here for me is to give you guys these tools to do it yourself. That's going to be it for me today. If you have any other questions, remember, comment section. I try to reply to all those, but go follow my Instagram and send me direct messages from there as well if you like, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.